I'm going to do a longer segment because I got a parking place. I've got 12 minutes on the meter. This is Old Town Pasadena. So I was at Holly and Marengo. Holly is, if you see the sign, there's Holly, which runs into dead ends into City Hall in Pasadena. This is Old Town Pasadena. So I'm gonna give the history of how I know what's gonna happen in Highland Park, and I finally just really realized why. I mean, I will explain more as I document. This is what they want Highland Park to look like. And I mean, I heard that 20 years ago, and I just didn't really quite grasp that they were gonna erase history. Remember, the Africans migrated to the United States, according to the biggest textbook company in Texas, international textbook company. They put that, okay. They want to get rid of American Indian history. They want no memory of what they did to people. So they don't want an area in Los Angeles, which it would be international tourism. The Lummis Home, the Southwest Museum, there's something called Casa de Adobe. It's all within a block of the Southwest Museum light rail station. So I wish, Nick, and I tried to make this happen, New York Times, Washington Post, do an expose of what they're really doing. So I knew that Highland Park, everyone said, Highland Park, when I started working in the, see the guy in the chef suit, I mean, never mind, I can go into that. Now we have culinary schools here. So this, when I was a kid, was Skid Row. When I started in Highland Park looked like this in Highland Park, where it's now the hottest neighborhood with Chicken Boy on the roof and artists and yoga studios and vegan and blah, blah, blah. 20 years ago when I got my property, when I had this thought that I'm an Indian, I really want to have an Indian presence here right near the Indian Museum. This is my gig, I'm involved, and a presence at all the community meetings as an American Indian. And didn't realize what I was up against. I do now. So Highland Park on Figueroa, which is that thing that you're seeing on York and Fig, when I started, it was Skid Row. It was really crappy, awful. You know, you wouldn't even want to be there. It was just a poor, awful neighborhood, gang infested, theft. You know, you don't even want to drive through it. And they said, City Hall or city government wants this, which you're seeing in the York and Fig gentrification, to be Old Town Pasadena. This is Old Town Pasadena. Old Town Pasadena is, you know, it's internationally known kind of thing. Down the street there's the Norton Simon Museum. Mega bucks. We're not talking rich neighborhood. We're talking, you know, it's like money, like I say, the guy I want you to approach to say, listen, I got something that nobody else has, and you're going to pay cash for it, and you know, this is what it's going to be. He literally has $250,000 in his pocket. I mean, he's got a bank account with that. That's the kind of money I'm talking about. That's what we're looking at. We're not looking at real estate people. We're looking at developers who know what is going on here. And so when I was a kid, this was Skid Row. You stepped over drunks because you were an artist getting to the only espresso bar in the world kind of thing. I mean, it was an arty place. I can give you the whole history of how this thing changed, which is fascinating. I mean, we went through back alleys that nobody, to get to, there was no place to buy espresso. And it was where the Caltech kids came in. It was where, and I went after work because, you know, I got off at 1 in the morning because I'm an apprentice chef. And so down this very street, this is Raymond, there's a little alley, and there was the thing known as the espresso bar. And that was in 1979, that was an item. There was no place you did that. You know, coffee in America was, you know, you go inside a diner and pay for a cup of coffee. So this is what this became. This is what the city of Los Angeles already knew when it was bullshitting the community about, oh, what do you want your community to be in the next 20 years? They already knew. They already knew they were moving us all out, moving the rich folks in. They already knew. Bullshit. So, now, the reason I'm doing a longer segment is, all right, so that's what that is. What you're seeing down there, the very tall thing, increased densification. Memorial Park Station, where the low income housing, oh, aren't we doing so much for the poor here? Yeah, right. We build it. We build over the tracks for the affordable housing. The train runs under the structure. Okay, that is the next increased densification. That is the next light rail stop. There's a park across the street. I forget what that park is called. But anyways, there is a light rail station right there. The next street over is Arroyo Parkway, which runs into the first freeway in the world. Arroyo Parkway it was to get rich people. This was built by the Huntington money. Really, Pasadena is old money. So Old Town Pasadena, when I was a kid, it was Skid Row, and now it's Old Town, as Pasadena was established by really rich people. The poor people did not live in Pasadena, and they lived in Highland Park. The people who built the Gamble House, the craftsmen who built the Gamble House, actually lived in Garvanza. There's Judson Glass Studios. I can give you the whole history of that kind of thing. I mean, again, there is a point. Oh, this is the Green Hotel. Hideous. Anyways, I'm not wanting to ramble too much, but I've lost the connection here. I'm going to get in the car, take that first historic freeway, the 110 freeway, which begins at Glenarm and Arroyo Parkway in Pasadena, which my high school, literally, Blair High School, is literally on the freeway. It's right there. When the smog was bad, you couldn't play in the gym because you couldn't see. You couldn't see across the gym because we were right by the freeway. I mean, literally, all those fumes were right into our gym. They did improve the air quality by, actually my mother's fifth husband, chemical engineer, world renowned, he actually helped some of that, not with the formulas for gas, but with some other stuff, because he was petrochemical and he developed a process. Anyways, so I know TMI, but the thing is, it's like, we can slow it down and talk later, but I want to get as much notes, hooks to talk about things as I can. Again, I would love for Washington Post or New York Times to do an expose about how Autry stole, how the cowboys, how we're repeating history. The city in collusion with the cowboys steals from the Indians. And it's just, and then it exactly parallels in terms of how I was treated, just exactly as my Chickasaw ancestors were, where my great-grandfather was the mixed blood, who negotiated with the U.S. government for the removal, getting the best price he could, which is a whole other thing, because the Chickasaws didn't fight like the Cherokees and the Seminoles to get the Supreme Court ruling that it was unconstitutional. Jackson could not remove us, and Jackson's famous words, it's like, basically, stop me. I can't remember the exact quote, but Supreme Court said, you can't move those people off their homeland. And it's like, yeah, right, try and stop me. So so he removed us from our homelands. But the Chickasaws did not participate in that lawsuit because these were mixed bloods. These were Scots who had already been removed from their homeland by the Brits. They knew how government worked, and they stood their ground as long as they could, hoping to be able to keep their homelands. But when push came to shove, they got the best price for their land. And they got the best deal, basically because my great-great-grandfather was half Scottish, or was Scottish. Anyways, I don't want to go into too much detail. I just wish that somebody would do a real expose on the crime being repeated, the crime against American Indians being repeated right there at Los Angeles' first museum, established by Charles Lummers, the editor-in-chief of the LA Times, his museum, because he was an American Indian rights activist when there was no such thing. And he wanted to make sure that there was at least you know, the record of these people. Well, now, in collusion with the city of government and arty, they're trying to erase the record. They want that museum, you know, to be something about art and not about people. So, the next stop I'm going to make is to upload these at the nearest Starbucks to my land, and then I will do I'll do a segment on the difference of, see, in Highland Park they haven't done their projects yet, but they have to. They have to. And there's no place near the Southwest Museum to do this kind of thing, except, and I'll show you the plot maps, how much land the arty has under its authority with that museum, completely undeveloped land. It's not just a museum, there's lots of land. And that's my point. I'll show you.